Once upon a time, two boys grew up playing hockey in the village of Terrace, British Columbia. One of them went on to play in the National Hockey League. The other became a comedian. Now, one flies planes and coaches youth hockey. The other is still a comedian and owns news skates. This is their podcast, Enjoying Orange Slices with Jeff and Ian.
Oh, hi, Jeff.
Hi.
My name's Ian. Your name's Jeff Sharples. Darren Millard isn't here. The show is calling Enjoying Orange Slices, and it's a time to go.
Time to go. We were just talking, before
Action.
we came on, we're talking, we got to go, because as the Clash used to say, should I stay or should I go now?
Right.
We got meetings. We got meetings today. We got meetings.
We got meetings. We got meetings. We got to go to the DMV.
Don't take off. Don't take off your Roy Orbison shades there.
Hey, I got these. These are great. So I got a pair of the in-betweens. I got a pair of, you used to have the transition glasses, and then you decided to be a full-on boy. Anyways, but I got the in-betweens, but now I have no clears for a week. It's awesome. I'm like, oh shit.
I know. It's funny when you go out and you're wearing your sunglasses around and it's 10 o'clock at night because you can't see anything. And I'm like, yeah, people do. They're looking at you like you're the dick. There's no question about it. Yeah.
And you know what? I can't tell that they're looking at me that I'm the dick if I take them off. That's the thing, because I'm blind. So I need to be able to see that they're calling me a dick. So
they are. They're like, look at this guy.
Look at this.
And you kind of stand out in the crowd with your
I'm
Def Leppard t-shirt on.
Ooh, you see it there?
Yeah, I saw that early. Yeah. I can't believe it. This is the first time you ever haven't had some hockey t-shirt on that some trainer
we're switching up.
Gave you for free.
I know. I paid for this. That's what's shitty about this.
Oh my God. That's the first one ever. Take a picture, folks.
I had to break out some money for this. Oh, it was disgusting. I was just crying the whole time I was paying for it. There's nobody I can talk to.
You guys didn't see me in East Rhode Island, or sorry, East Providence. Sorry, East Providence. I keep screwing that up, but that would still will stick with me for a while.
If East Providence would have to be in East Rhode Island, wouldn't it?
I don't know. I think it's pretty much right on the water, so I'm guessing the state goes inland a bit.
I like both of us. I like both of us in the car going, I had no idea it was south.
Cape Cod. I had no idea Cape Cod was south. I thought it was north. I think Martha's Vineyard's north, so we got that.
Is that what it is? For us. I love both of our careers are based on maps.
I know. I guess if I'm landing in Cape Cod, my career is going to be over anyways. So,
oh, sorry, everybody.
Yeah, well, it's a really nice place.
I would read every so often about planes landing in the wrong airports in the Okanagan of British Columbia. Are those airports alike that people can get mixed up pretty easy?
You know where you have problems is I think the one you're referring to is they had forest fires up there years ago. I think in the Kelowna area, and there was an aircraft that I think they didn't land in Vernon, or they were headed towards Vernon. Don't know, I mean, I'm not going to Monday morning quarterback it, but I will say this: where you have military bases and you have rivals, like, you just don't kind of go where you want. Air traffic control needs to have you in a certain place. So I'll give you an example. Spokane, if you're coming in from Seattle or Portland into Spokane, I think it's Fairchild Air Force Base. It's like a beacon calling your name, and you can see it for miles. And they're like, hey, you got the airport? And of course, Spokane is their airport's just a little bit more to the east. So you got to be careful there.
It's a mansion and then a double wide like that. That's the difference between it, right?
Well, and military airports, their Air Force airports are massive, right? So
really?
They're very inviting. Like it's like, and I'm trying to think. I'll see if I can come up with another one. There's another one out there that's that calls your name too. It's like, come on over here and land. But the actual airport you want to land at is off to the just off a few miles. Like Spokane, just for an example, I don't know, maybe it's 5-6 miles, 7 miles away from Spokane International. So Fairchild, which I believe it's called, is it's like a beacon. So you got to be careful. So there, once in a while, people could get mixed up, and you're like, "Oh, come on!" But it's just like everything else in life. There's some human factors once in a while, right? So that's why
Every so
there's two
often
of you.
people get involved, right? Every
Yeah,
so often people get involved, and that's what screws everything up.
yeah. So
Speaking of
yeah,
Spokane,
talk to
speaking
me.
of
Yeah,
Spokane,
and
I was in
ironic that
Spokane
I
this
brought that
weekend.
up, right?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I want to bring up. I sent you and Millard a little video. Have you ever seen the Lazy River ice rink?
No, I have never seen it, and it looks so cool.
Doesn't it?
It just looks so cool. And I was going to ask you, like, obviously they have some kind of. It's not cold enough in Spokane right now, is it, to just have a
It's
natural
pretty cool, but
outdoors?
there's. I don't think it was natural.
Yeah,
No, no.
yeah. So
Yeah.
they're running those lines for a long ways. But how cool would that be out there with your family, just going for a kind of a skate through the wilderness, and you're doing it on the lazy
Yeah.
river? That would be really cool.
It was like I know the canals in Ottawa, but I've never seen anything like that in a city. And perfect timing. Got to watch the Zamboni. That must be the best Zamboni driver ever. Like just being able to, oh, just gonna go for a little tootle around. It was pretty great. Yeah, I was like blown away. I wanted to know, and if anybody's watching this or listening to this, have you been on a natural or unnatural lazy river? What kind of a trail rink is what it is, right? So let me know, because I think you'd get more people skating if you had more things like that rather than just a circle, like, just an
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. Well, I mean, obviously in the colder climates, you're going to be able to get on the lakes, and I guess the river, or well, no, maybe not the rivers, but the ponds and
Streams.
the streams that freeze up, right? So, but yeah, something like this in a bigger center. Of course, it gets cold in Spokane too, but that is
Oh, it
such a
does.
good idea. Could you imagine playing a game, and then, you know, someone was
And
really
going for
good
a
with the
burn.
puck, you'd never be able to get it back from them, and they just keep skating around.
That's so funny.
Yeah. The
It's just
guys that
going,
aren't very good skaters are like, we're done. We're not going to play anymore. But that
going
we're
home.
yeah, we're going back to the normal rink. But
You
that
put
is
you
such a
put
cool
you put
spot.
it you put a net on either side of the beginning, right? That's so it's that's oh, new game.
Hey, could you imagine if you missed the net and you didn't have any like bumpers or anything behind the net? You'd be skating forever for the puck.
Just be going around and around. I love it. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Anything you can get people skating. And you're like, did you get some skates and go for a burn? I was like, I didn't even think of that. That's a good idea.
You guys are too busy out there doing your filming with
You
John
you know what
Wynn.
we did? We bought jackets. We bought North Face jackets.
Really?
Yeah. And then the
Must have
reason
been
I
on
was,
sale.
oh, they were only $100 each. Like it was crazy. I was gonna get one because I was like, I didn't have a jacket. I'm like, okay, it's time for a new jacket. So I was gonna get one. So I was planning on spending 250 because that's usually how much North Face jackets are. $100. And I was like, John Wynn, I'm buying you a jacket.
Yeah,
And
Merry
Winnie got a
Christmas.
new jacket and Ian got a new jacket, and we walked down the street strutting.
Can you imagine him driving around, where is it, Burbank and Van Nuys in his new Mustang with his North Face
With
jacket
this
on?
new North, I'm gonna see him today. Imagine if I hope I'm gonna text him right afterwards. Wear your jacket.
Yeah, wear your jacket so you guys can be like, you guys can be twins, even though they think we're twins. You guys can be
Yeah,
twins in your jackets.
triplets. We're triplets. We'll get you
Yeah,
one
it would
too.
be. Yeah, yeah, with our brother John. So,
Our
uh,
brother John.
brother John,
Our
brother
brother
John.
John.
How
Oh
was
my God.
Spokane? Like, did you like?
Awesome.
Spokane is such a cool area. That is
Did they have a team
beautiful
when you
over
played?
there. Yeah, well, I got moved down there. That's how the team started. So I was in Kelowna. Look at you. We're bringing it back around to hockey.
I love it. I'm
Spokane's the
good.
center of the universe today. So when I was in Kelowna, played 2 years in Kelowna with the
Hmm.
Wings, and then they moved us down to Spokane, and we were the Spokane Chiefs. And I broke my wrist in an exhibition game, and so and then I went to Detroit's camp, and I was like it wasn't like I was the strongest guy in the world anyways, but I couldn't even take a 45-pound bar because that's all we did back in the day, right? You do bench press, curls, and some squats. That was it. Three exercises. Nowadays, these guys have bands and everything else. And so I was like, I've got to keep working out. So I went to go grab a bar off, and I couldn't even hardly do the 45-pound bar. My wrist hurt so bad. It's like, oh, this isn't good. So I went to Detroit's camp, and the trainer's like, oh yeah, I think it's just carpal tunnel. I'm like, okay, it's just carpal tunnel. So I tried to play. And finally I got to a doctor. He's like, no, you have a broken wrist. And so I was out. Yeah.
How is, oh,
Things are a little different now, Lord Bagg.
you think it would be instant X-ray?
Yeah, you know what? Back then, I mean,
Let it fall off.
it was just, the guys didn't complain about stuff. They didn't, I mean, you'd see.
You didn't complain about stuff. You were playing with a broken wrist for how many weeks?
I didn't remember.
I'm disgusted.
Yeah, I actually, and what happened was, so I went down. So they're like, okay, you're going to be out 4 to 6 weeks or whatever. Then I think I went back, and they're like, oh, it's not healing or something's up. So they traded me to Portland, and so I didn't come back until February, and I broke the scaphoid. And of course, as soon as you break something or you have an injury, I immediately run into someone else that has the same injury, or multiple people. And I had this one guy I ran into, and he's like, yeah, they had to fuse my wrist. So I went to Portland, and they took me to this specialist. And they're like, oh yeah, that's not great, but we got to get the blood flow going back to that bone or whatever else. So they gave me this cast, and then ran these so I could almost put a battery on it, so it would send pulse down into my wrist to help.
I remember you wearing that.
Yeah, stimulate. That's when I came home,
up. Yeah,
and
got me to fight everybody.
you were running around getting gross misconducts on the ice.
You were like, yeah, you were like, go do that, go do this. And like, oh, and then you're like, oh, you did it.
Yeah. Well, I'd come out of junior, so you guys were playing Prince Rupert. So I remember it's like, Lord Bagg, you don't have to take that. So you went out there. This is how you were, the Ian Bagg school of checking, cross-check to the face, right?
I was
elbow. We call it,
I leave these out.
Oh, yeah.
These aren't used.
No shoulders. Hey, and like punching guys in the head. You were like you were just like train wrecking guys. I was like, all right. And then all of a sudden you got kicked out of the game. I'm like, ooh, maybe we went a little too far.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
So
all you did was turned up your battery and didn't care.
Yeah, I turned it up so I couldn't hear. It's like, but yeah, so
whoa. That's all you can hear.
So I remember I was like, I remember thinking, oh, it's got to be ready to go. So I went out and started ripping a few slappers and handling the puck. I'm like, no, it's not ready. So I'm pretty lucky though. Thank goodness. I will try to remember the hospital I went to in Portland, but those guys actually probably saved a lot of my career. And I'm indebted to the Portland Winterhawks for taking such good care of me when I got there, because that could have been really serious. And I just kind of recovered from that, went on, and here we are doing our podcast.
Here we are doing our. I'm gonna back it up though. So so you break your wrist. You hurt your wrist in Spokane.
Yeah, in an exhibition game against Seattle. Yeah.
Okay, so on your training staff, you have a trainer, and at that time, it seems like your trainer may have been equipment guy plus. So he didn't really have any medical expertise, whereas guys now have a guy that's medical expertise that would notice what's going on.
Well, and you know, in fairness, not only would they be the trainer and the equipment manager, a lot of cases they drive the bus. We had Timmy in Kelowna, Timmy. And I've got that. Well, we're getting in the wintertime. I'll tell some stories about some of our trips. But Timmy would drive the bus. Then he would put all the equipment out, or we'd put the equipment out. But he'd get the room ready. He'd get everything else ready. He might get an hour or two of sleep, and then we'd be back at the rink, getting ready to play or do whatever. And so then we play. He'd do his job. Then we'd leave after the game. Well, who's driving the bus? Timmy. So finally, we got a bus driver. But and a lot of it, I think, if you ask players that played, and it's probably still the same way today, a lot of times guys don't say anything because they're like, oh, I don't think it's that bad. So I just taped my wrist up and kept playing. And Timmy's like, how's you? Yeah, it's like, that's good. And so away we went. And then I went to Detroit. And I guess I should have been a little bit more forthcoming in Detroit too, but I'm in my that might have been my first NHL training camp. I can't remember. So I
So you're
wasn't going to say anything.
19 years, 18,
I
19.
just turned 17. So I got drafted when I was 17. I just turned 18, went to camp, I think. And
Yeah,
so I was
yeah,
just
you're gonna
happy
pipe.
Joey
You're
Kosher was
definitely,
on my team. Hey, I was
that's
happy
nice.
Joey was on my inter squad team, because that's back when he was grabbing guys and hitting them so hard he was cracking their
How
helmets
much
in
older
half.
was he than you?
I played junior against Joey. I think he's 2 years older than me. I think
So,
he was 18 or 19 when I was 16. So two or
but
three.
but at 18, it doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you're Wayne Gretzky. You're not saying things if it's not. You're not.
There's guys are not saying a word. So I mean, if we fast forward and then bring it back today, it's a lot different. But back, you know what? You're not going to say anything. I'm in camp. Okay, so we got
You're gonna
Stevie
play until you
Eiserman.
can't play.
Yeah, we got Stevie's there, Gerard Gallant, Snaps, he was there, held snaps. Ron Duguay was in camp, Johnny Ogrodnik, who was a 50-goal scorer. Joey was there, Bob Probert. Let's see who else. We had Darren Vici, great guy, Greg Stefan, Glenn Hanlon. Oh, no, maybe we had Sammy Sullivan. But anyways, I could go on and on with what a great group, just great guys. And that was my first kick at the Cat with an NHL team. So there's not a chance. And I didn't even know if I could say anything. I'm like, I think it's just a sprain. It's just me.
Exactly. I
You
don't
know,
know if I could even say anything.
yeah. So, but you know what? I think the other mindset with a lot of young players is it's not that bad. You know what? I got to suck it up. And so I finally got to the point where I got through camp, and Harry Neal was our coach. So Harry had gotten a big. I don't know if he got in a scrap, but he ended up. He was at the Vancouver draft table, and over the course of the summer, he got let go. They had a fight or something happened. I think they brought Bill LaForge in. Harry ended up in Detroit. And I remember when they sent me down, Harry was talking about, yeah, he's like, we were looking at drafting you with Vancouver, and the goalie
Oh
started going.
man.
So it was Troy Gamble, Sean Burke, who's here. Gam's great guy, one of the funniest guys in pro hockey. Troy Gamble, Sean Burke, who's the goalie coach here with the Golden Knights now, and I think it was Richter. It was. I forget how it exactly went, but Richter went. I think it was Richter to the Rangers. Berkey went, I believe, to the Devils, and Gams went to the Canucks.
Canucks.
I'll have to look at that, but I think that's how it went. So there was a run on goalies then. So they and so they picked them, and who knows if they said. But Harry, I don't know if he's trying to make me feel good. Sharps, we were looking at you, but yeah, we couldn't do it.
Sorry that you're stuck here.
Yeah, but I mean Detroit, I'm indebted to them too. They were unbelievable to me.
Absolutely.
The Illich family.
So who knows what your journey would have been like with Vancouver, but your journey with Detroit is the way it went. And it's great, So you can't look, second 2020 hindsight. So
well, and the thing that I would say,
the wrist.
Yeah, well, but everybody has injuries, right? So it's not like, yeah.
But what I want to know is, if you say let's move Jeff Sharples to 2024, and this is you're 18 years old and you've hurt your wrist, and you say I'm having problems with my wrist. They're not just gonna they're gonna check it, right?
Yeah, they are. I mean, some of I'm not sitting there. I'm not throwing responsibility on someone else.
Well, it was just the time. It was the time.
It's like
the time.
I remember like guys get their bell rung right back out there next shift. Now they got a guy in the stands as a spotter going, hey, you got to get that guy out of that guy. Hey, 27 needs to be looked at. So they'll take him back. Yeah. 20, there would be guys, that like Dean Melcock, great guy, getting a scrap. And he got kind of his bell rung in a scrap, back out there later on fighting Ken Baumgartner, who was one of the toughest guys ever. And nobody said anything. Good job, Mally. And I think he's a firefighter in Vancouver now, or in White Rock. Another great guy of the game. But he would have never, he said, I didn't know. I didn't say anything to anybody. I was just trying to survive. Like I was trying to make it. And so now I think you have a lot more, let's just say it's a lot more player friendly now than it was back then. But but still, like if there's only a couple people going for a job, then chances are, you're not going to say anything.
Here's something about that it's great that it's changed, right? But you know what's changed it? And this is what's made that change. Money. If you're paying $1 million for a kid, you're going to want them to have $1 million worth of health on them. And the wages back then were completely different. They could afford to let a guy just kind of disappear.
Yeah, I remember looking at the Detroit Red Wings payroll. I think in the late 80s, it was 87 or 88 or 89. It was 3 million for the year. Like, I mean, if you can get the puck out of your zone now, and you can get it on the forecheck, you're going to
Yeah.
make close to 3 million, and kick in some goals. You're going to make close to 3 million a year. If you're a good solid stay on home D, just do kill penalties. You're going to make 3 a year, and that used to be teams' payrolls, but that's okay. You know what? We should have oversight on professional sports. It's funny we're talking about this. I think it goes well beyond injuries, like as far as physical injuries, it goes on into the mental side of the game too. And I was talking to a buddy of mine about this the other day. It's like the game has gotten so much faster on the ice, but it's got so much faster off the ice. And I think they're pretty good at, they still are hard in their ways, and sometimes the way they want to treat injuries. See Jack Eichel and Buffalo versus the way Vegas treated it. But I think the NHL, and I'm sure they're doing it, but I think we could do more, is making sure that these players, and people are like, oh, they make a lot of money. There's so much more scrutiny on them now, and there's so many more people that want a PC action. And a big part that's changed everything is gaming. So I think, and I don't know what's going on, and I'm going to use a guy, JT Miller just had to take a step away, and I don't know what's going on. JT Miller is one of the best players in the league in the last, let's just say several years. He's been unbelievable. People pay to go watch him play. I'm not sure what's going on, but he took a step away. Right. So he can't be the only guy. Maybe, they talking a little bit about mentally. He's been injured and he's having a tough time dealing with it. There's other people like that, but not many people are going to say anything. And they're going to get a lot more influence from outside, especially with all this money coming in from the gaming. So heads up on
Absolutely.
that. NHL, we could make sure we take care of our players. And in the NHLPA too, Glenn Healy's running it now. Heels is very outgoing, and I think he's trying to do the best he can, which is all you can ask.
All you can do is try, right?
Yep.
But when it's interesting to look back on things. Like here's and this is nowhere near, but I remember when I first started doing comedy, you could still smoke inside. So there used to be like all four, like you'd go in 6 and it would just be smoke. For you know what I mean? Every so often you get a sore throat. You're like, I wonder why I got a sore throat. I wonder why. You just smoked like 12 packs of cigarettes in half an hour, right? So,
Yeah.
but and then they went to there would be a non-smoking show, right? So
Yeah.
there'd be one non-smoking show, and then it went all the way to there'd only be one smoking show, and then it went to be all the clubs you couldn't smoke inside, and it would just be the waitresses puffing in between shows. But I went someplace last year. I can't remember where it was, but they were still smoking, and I was blown away by it. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. But that's how things change, and we can't be resistant to change, and hockey is changing so fast, so fast.
It is, and I don't know if I hope that there's things in place, or there's things being worked on, because uh, it's not the NFL at that level, the NBA, or maybe Major League Baseball, but it's coming. It's
It's
they have
coming.
to put the protections in to make sure that these players are shielded outside of the dressing room. And yeah, you know what? When the guy goes home, he's going to live his life whatever way he lives it, but they need to make sure that there's resources available to them, and that these guys are educated on what's going on, because this is big boy hockey now. This is big time money. TNT isn't, just they're big into it. ESPN's big into it. Sportsnet and TSN in Canada.
Prime.
Prime, hey, Amazon's decided they want a piece of the action, and there's nobody that's done, bigger and stronger than Amazon these days. So,
And at the end of the day,
anyways,
your product is the players.
yeah.
So you got to protect your product. You got to protect you got to make sure that your product is protected. It's not the arenas, it's not the cameras, it's your players. So
Well, and you're starting to see they're starting to dig in, like they're following players now, right? And you're starting to peel back the curtain on who these guys are and what they, how they operate and their personalities, which I think is great. But there's a whole another level of scrutiny and maybe an undercurrent that you're introducing, you might not want unintentionally following this around too, right?
Well, there's
So
always going to people want to make money off of
yeah,
without,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to, um, it's interesting, and we'll just switch it a little bit. But next week, let's talk about Spokane some more because I want to talk about the team moving there and stuff like that.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Let's talk about I want to call him McDavid. Who's the McDavid of Toronto?
Matthews.
Yeah, Matthews.
Okay.
So he's in Germany getting treatment.
Yeah.
Does he have to go through the team to get that? I was shocked that they let that out. He must have been seen by somebody, like somebody must have seen him over there and said something, because I would think they would have kept that quiet.
Well, I mean, he walks anywhere he goes in Toronto. He walks in the Toronto airport. He's, oh, I'm on the flight with Matthews to Frankfurt or wherever it is, right? So,
Right.
Now the German, I know our good buddy Scott Pensivy here in town. A lot of his equipment that they use, some of the state of the art stuff they use is from Germany.
I was
So
from Germany.
yeah,
Would you like your muscles to feel better?
that's exactly
Oh.
it. So it's pretty crazy when you think of the things that are available to Austin Matthews, and it's a little, I don't want to say it's concerning because it could just be a state of the art thing, but the fact that they have him going to another
Germany?
country, to Germany, other than the Canada or the US, which is where most of the players, I believe, when they have an issue, get treated. It tells you that there's a little bit more going on. But like I was saying, our good buddy Scott Pensivy, who's the Barishnikov of a
Make you feel
physiotherapist,
good.
he's so good. A lot of his equipment or some of his equipment's from Germany because they're getting it done over there. They're very innovative.
They're very advanced in their healing and their stretching. And yeah. I would just it was the reason I bring that up is because it shocked me that it was in the news that he was in Germany and how long he's been out for. And usually Toronto's a little bit more panicked by anything, and they hadn't said anything. But what I got panicked about was I'm watching Utah and Washington the other night, and Ovi got a knee on knee, and I'm just like, oh, and he was tearing it up.
Yeah.
So,
hit 5 goals in 2 games, but even before that, so it's at 14 now. Like when we had Mallard on a couple weeks ago, Mallard was like, oh, I'd love to see Ovi get going. Man, did he ever get going? Yeah, he got
oh
going.
my
I think
God.
he was like a goal a game, maybe more over the next 10-game stretch. Or
He
whatever.
shoots like Pacioretty, but he hits the net.
Yeah, he shoots the puck hard. Like,
oh my God, he shoots a lot too. He does not think pass. He's like, I love it. Like he just shoots.
He's such a bull that do you remember I think you showed me that YouTube of him playing soccer and just absolutely trucking guys. Like
I think Molly or Meg sent it to us. Yeah, just this beast coming down the side.
Guys are bouncing off him. No wonder no one wants to go near him during a game. And I mean, when you see him get sour and he takes a run at someone, you just don't want to be on the other end of that. So hopefully Ovi's okay, because you know what? That Washington is an unbelievable story. There's a couple. Ovi brings he brings the magic, right? So people follow. He's 30 goals away now, or was it 31? He might be 29. He got 2 the other night.
I think it's 31.
30?
I think
is it 30? Yeah, it's something like that.
It's
around 30. Yeah, so it's totally doable if he isn't out very long. But
he's week to week, not day to day, week to week.
That sucks. When you hear week to week, hopefully you can get back by Christmas. It would be my my hope for that one. But I look and I go, Washington, only 4 losses. Stumped the chump last week, right? Winnipeg's got 3 losses. There's another team tied with them for 3 losses. And people would have a really hard time figuring that out. It's Mini, right?
Minnesota's on fire.
And then I think the Rangers have 4 losses. Carolina's got 4 losses. So we were talking the other day, you and I, about all these teams are like, what's going on? Is it inconsistency, or is it just that the teams are there's a few elite teams? Winnipeg has been amazing. You got to give Mini credit. The Rangers are right there. Washington and Carolina. When you only have, there's a couple teams with 5 losses, but a lot of other teams, they kind of play really well for a few games, and then they lose, and you're like, oh, what happened? Like Edmonton's one of those teams. They go in and Montreal kind of dominates them 3-0. They go and thump Ottawa. So, and I really like Ottawa. I thought Ottawa's on the rise. Now all of a sudden Ottawa is kind of leveled a bit. So it's really hard to kind of pick.
It's a long season. It's a long season, but it is really like it's the haves and it's not the haves and the have-nots, but it's the shocking night to night. You know what I mean? How it's so different night to night. Like, and I don't know, are they playing a lot of back-to-backs this year?
Well, they are playing a lot of games early in the season, and November is a big month for a lot of teams. And December doesn't seem as bad, although it's busy. A lot of stuff around Christmas, but the 4 nations where they take that 2 weeks off, they got to place those 6 or 7 games somewhere else. And
they're in November.
Yeah, November is taking on a big load this year. So I don't know. I just, John Shannon said it. He was on Mallard's radio show, and John Shannon is just an encyclopedia of works with Sportsnet. He's on with Edmonton, the pride of Oliver, BC. But he said it on Mallard's radio show he does here in the afternoons for the Golden Knights and general stuff around the league, is that there's a murky middle in the NHL, and more teams are in that murky middle. And that doesn't mean they're bad teams. It just means on a given night, they might, or a given week, they might shine, but then they kind of come back a little bit and someone else then steps out. And it's really tough to pinpoint at this point who the truly, like, okay, who's our Stanley Cup favorites? Because normally we're a week away from Thanksgiving down here in the States, and normally everyone's like, okay, we got it all figured out. This is what it's going to look like. I have no idea what it's going to look like. And all you have to do is go back just a few years to St. Louis and where they were, and they came all over.
Got to get in.
Yeah, roaring back, and they won the cup. So I don't know. Murky middle is a way to put it, but there's definitely some teams, a bunch of teams in there where they just, if they could go on a bit of a run, they could help separate themselves a little bit. That's for sure.
It's interesting you say that, because even like when Ottawa lost the other night, big time to Florida, I was like, okay, here we go into a skid into losing for a while, right? And they flipped it around. Like, it's crazy. The upper echelon teams are able to like not be bothered. Their short-term memory is perfect, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's gone. It's gone. That game's gone. Let's move it on, right?
I think if I was to grab a team that had short-term memory, that's been around it for a long time now, that's won their share of, won a couple cups, it's Tampa Bay. They lost their captain, they lost their savior, Stamkos, right? Like, this guy, when you thought of the Tampa Bay Lightning, you thought of Steven Stamkos. Oh, there's our timer. So
get off.
Yeah, time to leave. But just to finish on they have no memory at all of the play before. They just go out and play the next play, and they're going to be, you're going to have to contend with them before it's all said and done. And that's really impressive. That's a team I look at and I'm like, man, it's so impressive what Cooper's been able to do with that team and those players, how they just kind of keep on, they they're not the same team they were a few years ago, but they look like they're kind of almost like Winnipeg this year. Like they're so determined that they're going to get to the promised land when you watch them play.
They're annoyed.
Yeah, it's
right?
like, yeah, we
They're
don't
annoyed.
like being, half-assed. And you look at Winnipeg. Winnipeg was fourth overall last year, so it's not like this is. But they've increased on that now. Like, I mean, it's crazy what they're doing. So we get to see Flats here. Let's see, what's today? What's it? The 19th or 20th? Get to see Flats here the day after Thanksgiving. So we're looking forward to spending some time
I'm
with them.
trying, but it doesn't look good for me. So just to let you know.
I'll tell them that you and your Def Leppard t-shirt might or might not make it.
Def Bagg.
Def Bagg. Hey, we got.
And you know what? You know, it's even shittier. He's here the night before Thanksgiving, and I'm doing those 2 shows in San Diego, so I'm going to miss him while he's here.
Well, hey, let's be real. You got meetings and you got shows. You're
Got
busy.
meetings.
You got some meetings. Hey, before we go, we got to talk about how tough this league is that we give general information on. Monty got let go. Montgomery got let go in Boston, and his record was 120 wins, 41 losses, and 28 ties. And with my school district 88, and now school district, I believe 80, I was going to take a picture when I was up there and send it to you. Math, that is 189 games, 41 of which he was not able to get points in. Out of the 189 games, you get points in all the other games. So in 41 games out of 189 in Boston, he was not. They were not able to get a point, which is crazy, right? It's crazy.
Which is crazy, but I want to know, in the last 50 games, were 30 of those losses. That's where they've run into trouble, right? So, and it's just, that record is insane. But watching Boston play, all the attention was going to the bench to see whether he was going to snap or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's problems there other than him, right? He's dealing with, I think it's time to maybe clear house on the management side. But like there's problems. Like that's even something they were talking about, the fact that Swayman held out. Nobody's held out in Boston for a long time.
Yeah. Normally when you do that, you're not around.
You're gone.
Of course, he hasn't had the start that he was expected to have. But then again,
it's not been horrible.
You know what? When a goalie doesn't have a great start, sometimes you don't want to blame. I played D. We got blamed our whole life, so we're just used to it. But you have to look at your team, at the team in front of you as well. And the game is so fast now. It's not it's not your 2D in front of your goalie. It's a 5-man, defensive situation, because the other team, their forwards could be down in the corner on the forecheck or chipping pucks in front of the net by your goalie. It's crazy. So, Boston is very interesting. Their success is, I just wonder, like, if you're a team that's had some success and you're getting a little older, Tampa is just going crazy again. But I just look and I go, what is it, 16, 17 years in a row they made the playoffs? Are they, is it time? They tried to retool. They picked up Zadorov and Lindholm in the offseason.
Zadorov is out for quite a long time.
And so is Lindholm. Who is the defenseman they got from, they got 2 Lindholms there, don't they? They got Hampus from the Ducks, and he's out for quite a while, and he's a big piece of the pie out there. So we'll see.
So you better fire everybody.
Well, I just thought to myself, if I woke up the next morning and I was an NHL coach and I looked at what Monty's record was, and then I was like, my record's, I don't know if anybody could have anything even close to that record. I mean, Cooper, DeBoer, Cassidy, and then
they should be ready to be fired, is what they should be.
Well, and then you got who is it? Bonus and Maurice and now Arnie, Scott Arniel in Winnipeg. They've had great records, and I guess Brindamore too. But I don't know, has anybody had a record like in the last 200 games like Montgomery? That's pretty crazy.
Who do you think whose ears do you think perked up once he was fired? Like what team's going home?
Well, I can tell you who I would be looking for. I mean, they went with Sacco, but if I was Quenville, Q. The thing is with Q, he's been out for a little while now. But you know what? I'd be like, if I was looking for a guy, someone on the outside right now, Todd McClellan's out there. And then
It's kind of shocking to me that you wouldn't have that in place before you fired him.
It kind of looked like here, you know what? In Boston and they've run it the way they've run it for a long time. They're the bees, man. They're the bees for a reason. They've had tremendous success, but it kind of looked like after they got booed off the ice, which I mean,
you think it was a panic button?
I think they were like, they probably were thinking about it. They're like, holy shit. Oh, holy cow. Holy cow.
Ooh, look
Put
at
your
Jeffrey
earmuffs
swearing.
on, kids. Put your earmuffs on. They probably but that's what I thought when they got booed off the ice. That's what I thought. It was like, what, in Boston?
Right.
And so I just wonder if they thought, we have to do something. We might not want to do it. But now what we've done is we've shifted the focus onto the players. That's what's happened.
Now
so
we
the
can start,
focus is
we
now
can start moving some players now.
Well, but the focus is shift on them. Hey, it's like, hey boys, okay, we're off to a rocky start. So we've changed head coaches. Now we're not changing head coaches again. So either you guys start performing or we're going to start, there's people that could be on their way out. So it'd be very interesting to watch Boston over their next 5 to 10 games.
Are you guys all ready to be traded to Columbus?
Well, Columbus is the one that thumped them. And I'm happy
Yeah.
for Columbus. Really, really happy to see, really would like to see them have some success.
Who's last
that's
in
a
the
big
league
win.
right now? Is it Utah? Is it
No,
Utah?
it's I think it's Nashville.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, that's who might be
We'll get
looking
to them
for,
another day. We talked about
that's who
them.
might be looking for Montgomery to come in. I think that's the next guy to be fired.
Well, if you look now, and let's be real here, you lost Bergeron, Hall of Famer, and David Krejci. So if you're good down the middle in the NHL, you're usually pretty good, which means you're center iceman, you're D. And I like Boston's D for the most part. I think, you know what, but you lose two center icemen like that. Now Lindholm comes in, and you know what, he's a heck of a player. But it again, and Zadorov in the same way. These guys, even though they're veterans in the league, they're coming from another conference, and you see it. There's some guys that just zip right in because they're like, oh my, I needed a break. I needed a break. Logan Thompson in Washington is having a great year. He said it himself. He said, I just needed a refresh. So that's what's happened. Everything looks great in Washington. Some of these other guys, it takes them a little longer. To get kind of find their way. It's different style hockey versus, in the East versus the West. And
Sure is.
And there's a lot of other things involved, but we'll see what happens in Boston now.
It sure is a different style. Speaking of different style, I gotta go.
Yeah. Okay. You got a shout out before we go?
You got shout outs? You got one?
Why don't you go first today? I'm going to shout it out. I got my shout out. You ready? You might want to ride shotgun with me. I'm going to shout out to our hometown of Terrace, British Columbia. That's finally getting a state-of-the-art brand new hospital. It's opening November 25th. And it's Kasyne, Kysyne, I think it's a Haida name. So I apologize. I want to make sure I get that right. I believe it's a Haida name, First Nations, and they're opening the hospital in Terrace, and it's so overdue, and it's such a great thing for where we came from. So hopefully at some point you and I can help out and and
they're hiring. Just to let you know, if you listen to this and you have a child, or it's you, or you have a relative that's in the medical industry and they're looking to to move someplace, Northern British Columbia is hiring. And if you're into outdoors, if you're into smaller communities, and you're into making money, they're willing to pay you. And there's good school districts up there. Look at us. We're fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, look at what it turned out right here.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. I'm gonna push it. They are hiring up there. If you know somebody that's looking for a job, they are looking for people in the medical services, nurses, occupational therapists, physical therapists. They're looking for specialists, radiologists, all those kind of things. They're looking for that. So if you know anybody that wants to live in a great place with, sure it's gray, sure it snows, but if you like outdoors, it is the place to live. So
Well, and you know what? You can get in and out of there. If you like to drive, then you're going to be able to drive for a while. But you can get, to Vancouver, get anywhere. And that's the thing. Well, you and I now, we live totally different places than we grew up. But when I'm home, I'm like, man, miss my river boat. Used to go fishing with flats. Friends had skidoos, snow machines, they call them down here. But
snow
snow machines. But
machines. No,
yeah, I mean,
skidoos.
and you don't even need any of that stuff. There's just the outdoors is there 24/7. And yeah, so
And when it's sunny there, it is
no
gorgeous.
place and the fishing. So
Yeah.
we are doing our this is welcome to Terrace. We're
Welcome
gonna
to Terrace.
Yep.
Come visit us, Terrace, British Columbia.
Love to all.
Congratulations, Terrace. Loved all.